All right, thank you for staying with us. That was a performance, of course, to kickstart your Thursday, and it's time for tech. And today, the world revolves around programming, so much so that a number of people have been asking, how do we get into this? You know, maybe as a kid, or how do your kids get into it? In case you think maybe you are too old to program, but hey, come on, Programming for Beginners, a guide to starting out as a programmer. Maryann Azodo is our guest today. She's a software programmer. Via using Python language. It's great to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Why is that language called Python? What's it with the Python? Why Python? Why the name?
Different programming languages have different weird names. So.
But is there any link to the animal, or
no?
It's just the name, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. So you are a software developer, and a lot of the world now runs around software, so there is a need for programming. Now, I know that a lot of things have been made easier. You know, before you had to maybe design, if you wanted to design a flyer or something, you'd have to maybe use CorelDRAW, Go and all that. But now with Canvas or other applications, it's easier. The back end, there's a lot that has been done so that the front end is easy for you.
Yeah.
But for somebody who wants to get into programming, maybe let's start from an adult who maybe has been into a profession, and then you feel like, okay, I want to learn into programming or something. How do you start up? How do you get into it? Okay,
first of all, it's not difficult for anyone to get into programming. Anyone can start somewhere. It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm so old, I can't program anymore. It's not true. And you don't have to have a computer science degree.
You don't have to?
No, you don't have to.
So if I can carry my animal husbandry degree and say I want to program,
yes.
How do I go about it? Where do I start?
Well, as you said, the internet has provided us with a lot of tools. You have to know how to use your internet, and you have to be determined. A lot of people start something and they don't finish, and that's the problem. But when you're committed to something, you see yourself doing it. So for programming, you just have to have a focus, know where you're going to, know what you want to start with, like basic HTML, CSS, understand the rudiments of programming, and you're on the right.
These rudiments, yeah. So what is the basic knowledge? So you mentioned HTML, so maybe someone might not know exactly what HTML means and all of that. Do I need to, so for instance, you want to do medicine, you know that maybe you have to, biology, you have to be quite good at biology. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. So what are the basic subjects that somebody maybe needs some level of, you know, affinity, or what subjects you need to have an affinity for you to start programming? Okay, so that's another thing. Some people think you have to be really good at mathematics before you start programming, but that's not true. That's not true. So what do I need to do? So the HTML actually means hypertext markup language. It works with what you see on the front end of the website. That's the visuals and everything. And the CSS is cascading style sheets. It works with aligning things, putting the color in place and all of that. So if HTML is not really core programming, it doesn't work for the back end. It doesn't show what's the website. It doesn't work with functionalities. It only works with the front end, what you see on the website. Okay. So, and HTML is pretty easy to understand. Yes, it's easy to learn. So you don't need maths. So are you saying that I just need basic comprehension skills? Exactly. I just need to know how to comprehend. Now for kids, yeah, as maybe a parent who wants to start up a kid, I want to get them into deep programming, I want to get them to, you know, get very advanced and all of that. How do you go about it? What should you expose them to? Okay, so this is actually a very interesting question, because I teach kids programming weekends virtually, yes. Okay. I have some people from Lekki British that I teach and other schools. So it's very easy to teach a child than to teach an adult, because, yes, it is, because an adult wants to jump the gun. Like, you have to tell an adult, you have to start like with baby steps before you get to where you are. But an adult wants to get there. But then a child is very curious. So, and I use simple terms to teach children. The first class I had with them, they were really confused. What's coding? My parents want me to learn coding. And I made them understand that it's just like your everyday life, the basic things you do. Programming is just like making a cup of tea. First of all, you have to learn. You have to understand, okay, how do I make a cup of tea? You have to boil water. You have to get your Milo. You have to get your milk. You have to mix them in. So coding works with processes. What if it's cold tea? don't want to boil water. Just want
exactly. It's still a process. It's still a process. Okay. If it's cold water, then you already know you need water, whether it's cold or hot. Then you know you need the other things. It could be your tea. It could be your Milo and milk. Then you just mix them, and then you arrive at a cup of tea. So before you start coding, I tell the kids, you have to go through this process. I actually tell them, if you want to develop something that has to do with cartoons, which is something that interests children a lot, okay, you have to develop a website that shows you your favorite anime, that shows you your favorite cartoon. How do you start? Okay, first of all, you have to get all the cartoons that you like. You have to know what the cartoon talks about. Okay. Then, if you have all these requirements, you can now say, okay, I have all the requirements I need. How do I now start? Which is where the HTML comes into place. Okay. They start by positioning objects.
So HTML is a language that the computer can understand and put out stuff out there, right?
It's just that basically the Wake Up Nigeria you're seeing is HTML. Okay. There is no functionality behind. There is nothing that you can click. It's not... The example of functionality I'm talking about, you want to make a payment online, and you need to, the payment system understands that you have a card, and it has to make a debit. That is working with the back-end code. Okay. But then what you're seeing that has nothing that you're doing was the HTML and CSS.
It's a front-end code. So, so for the kids now, though, so let's round up with this, yeah? How long does it take to, maybe a basic programmer, how long, what's the duration? How long do you think somebody has to spend? What are the requirements as per maybe the system? What do you need? Can you program with your phone? What are the requirements?
Okay, so for example, Python works on phones, some phones. Okay. As long as you have like a very big RAM in your phone, it works with your phone. So, but if you're using a laptop, you just need a small laptop, and the software doesn't take much space. So you can just download it and start. And also, I don't know, I want to say something to some people listening. I feel like there are people that tell you programming is really difficult. I have to have an IQ of 150 and above before that's not true, because prior to being a software developer, my parents wanted me to study medicine. So before I got into computer science, not knowing how to use Microsoft Word. So I had to learn from scratch. And it was amazing.
There you are.
Here I am.
Okay, we'll talk more. We'll explore this more. But thank you for that introductory class.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you next. All right. Thank you. Hope you're able to pick something there. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to have all of that. You can just start from where you are. Just maybe even a phone. You can start programming. That's all we can take on tech this morning. We'll take this step out now. Don't go anywhere. When we get back, it's our book chat.